Welcome to the first talk show of NPP. So NPP, National People's Power, Jatika Jana Balawekya, is contesting as one of the main alliances for the upcoming election. This program is designed to bring you knowledge about National People's Power. To start off with, let me start with a quote from Plato. He said, "If you are not interested in the affairs of your government, be sure to be ruled by the fools." I think we all as professionals as well as people or civilians in this society, we have an interest of our kids, interest of our nation and interest of our motherland. So, we need to be active in politics. Today we have three unique personalities who has decided to be very active in politics. So, let me introduce today's panelist for you. Mr. Harshana Nanayakkara, attorney at law, criminal practices for about 20 years. In his beginning of his career, he has been an officer of Attorney General's Department, and he is also a barrister of Lincoln in London. So, Mr. Harshana Nanayakkara also serves as a media spokesperson for NIO, National Intellects Organization. And along with him, we have Ms. Kaushalya Ariyarathna, attorney at law, a researcher and a social activist of, for gender equality. And she is also in a steer committee of New Wings, a youth coalition for better political culture. We also have Dr.Anil Jayantha, a senior lecturer of University of Sri Jayawardenepura, and he is also a chartered accountant. And Mr. Dr. Anil Jayantha also serves as the lead for economic policy development at National Intellects Organization. I would like to welcome all of you to this first talk show of NPP.
Thank you.
So, to start off this conversation, the first I would like to ask each of you, now you have become politically active in Sri Lanka with NPP. Politics is not considered an area where professionals generally get active, because it has been misused and it has been corrupted and it has been taken away from the people. So, I would like to ask Mr. Harshana, what made you become active in politics in Sri Lanka, and how did you be part of NPP?
Well, I mean, if I may explain, it was a gradual process which started, I would say, about 8, 10 or even long before. That is, that you feel there's a general sense of something is not right, there's injustice all around, so you got to do something about it. So then obviously there were personal efforts, engaging in charity, working with clubs, trying to uplift people's lives, or some other areas that we chose on. I'm sure most of activists start their early careers like that. But then there's a point that you come to where you realize all these personal struggles, struggling alone won't achieve much, because at the end of the day you need a change of system. Charity cannot change a system. Being kind and nice to someone cannot change a system. Only a system change can sustain the good society we want, and that we cannot do by way of personal individual struggles. So then there were a lot of like-minded people like myself. We spoke in an informal setting. I mean, just discuss, what can we do, because things are not really good. And also, as you rightly said, the corrupt nature of this politics for the last 70 years of this country. No right-thinking man want to be in this hellhole. No right-thinking man want to be in this hellhole. But then, to quote exactly what you said when we were introducing about Plato, when good men keep quiet, you get ruled by bad people. So it's pointless just screaming and shouting. You must get involved. We have to do something a little more than pressing buttons of the Facebook. So then we got together with like-minded individuals at National Intellectuals Organization. That's where I meet Dr. Anil Jayantha for the first time. All a bunch of professionals. We all got together and we were working from around 2016, 2017 to prepare a set of national policies. which we did about, I believe, 2019 February, as the policy document in different subject areas like economics, culture, environment, whatever, I mean, national security, everything, a proper policy document. And then when the time came, we became a partner of NPP, because we felt if you want to change a system, you need a driving force for it, and we can't do it alone. So here we are now working with NPP for a system change, believing in our policies.
Ms. Kaushalya, you have been activist and trying to change certain things in the society. So now you are backing a political organization. How do you feel, and what's the motive behind this?
For me, I have been working in the field of human rights and equality and gender justice for like about 10 years. And not only myself, but as a group of people who have been fighting for gender justice, that at certain point we understood that yes, we are fighting, but we cannot get this thing achieved without certain political structure where they accept equality as the basic foundation. So we have been having informal discussions with all the other groups of National People's Power, and there are a lot of other sectors that who are involved in the NPP. So at some point we decided, yes, all these right-wing political parties who have been ruling us have disappointed us. No one gave, they gave promises which were not actually fulfilled. So this is the best platform. We all can come together and fight and make a certain change to get the right equality and justice for people. So that's why I am with NPP.
Okay. Doctor, you have been a lecturer and you have been teaching economics to all of us, and now you have decided to engage in policy development and also to ensure that those policies can be implemented through a political process. How would you feel now?
First short answer is, as a citizen of this country, I am not happy with the current political situation. What I believe is, no matter whatever it is called, politics, professions, maybe society, environment, education, health and all these things, they are integral parts of one system, that's our country. So therefore the politics should be right, first of all, because that decides the shape of the entire country. That is out of the shape, so everything would be in a real mess. So therefore, as on one hand I am an academic, on the other hand in general I am a citizen, this socio-political context is not conducive for me to do my academic job and to earn certain income. Of course, relatively being a lecturer in a university nowadays, we draw a reasonable salary. I can have, like, basically I don't say that I can have a really fantastic life, but as far as the economic means are concerned, I can have an own, like, satisfactory life. But that is, I am not happy with that, because I can't do that in a situation where the entire economy is in a real mess in terms of income generation, in like how it has been created, like now we live with a huge debt burden and all these things are concerned. So like I am not in a situation where that can accept and simply do my job and say that no, that is not my, I mean politics is not my job. Actually politics is not a bad thing. So therefore every citizen has a responsibility to contribute to create a good political culture. How can we do this thing? So instead of like, so, I mean there are different professional organizations. Most of these progressive people may have different opinions, but at this particular political juncture, irrespective of any political, social or any other differences, we agree on one thing, that is the country is not in a good shape. So therefore, it is a responsibility of everyone, I am not saying that only professional, everyone to create a good platform where we can democratically debate how our country should be, how should it be governed, who should govern the country. So it should be a democratic debate that is missing in our country. So that is why I am here, the first effort in a way, so as much as possible, because I do my profession as well in addition, so I find my time, I contribute to create this common platform to have a good political discourse. Then I believe that we can create. That is what how NPP is created. It's a common platform for everyone.
Very interesting, because all of us individually fight for causes, equity, justice and social justice, and I think what you are saying is that until there is a proper political structure to drive that change, we won't be able to individually achieve these objectives or purposes of our lives. So, so I will move on to the next set of questions. Mr. Nanayakkara, now this discussion about alternative politics, right? So it's a very hot topic these days, and do you think that Sri Lanka needs an alternative political structure or a culture, and what do we mean by alternative politics?
We definitely need an alternative. Now let's define this alternative, because so many interpretations are being given to it. Why do we need alternative? First is that we've been governed after our freedom for nearly 71 years, and when we were getting the freedom from the English, our treasuries had over 50 million worth of gold. That's how a country's wealth was measured. Today, after 71 years, each one of us are in debt to the tune of nearly 550,000 or 565,000. So definitely our system has failed us completely and miserably, right? I'm sure Dr. Jayantha will tell later how other countries who are behind us has passed, like South Korea, economically and all over the place. So do we need alternative? Yes. But right now the debt burden, the social deterioration, the cultural deterioration, all, and corrupt politics. We haven't, the amount of corruption that goes on in this politics is quite evident when the Auditor General says we are in debt to the tune of 11 trillion and corresponding assets we only have 1.8 million trillion. So they have stolen 9.2 trillion. If you take a loan from a bank, brother, you take 5 million from the bank, you can show here's my house that I built with it, so the asset is there. But here for 9.8 trillion, you cannot show anything. It has been simply pocketed, and then they pass it on to the public via taxes, indirect taxes on food, medicine, transport. So do we need an alternative culture? Yes. And what is that alternative culture? Non-corrupt. Those who are not stealing public money, those who are not wasting public money, is the alternative we are looking for. So do we need an alternative? Yes. Now how does this become political alternative? Because if you look at the two main parties here, SLFP, Pohottua, and both are the same now, we always said it, they are the same, and then the UMP. Look at the people they are appointing. How many has passed O-levels? Do they have any intelligence to formulate a policy? Are they really interested in serving the people or themselves? Look at, they are getting a pension for them after 5 years in the parliament, which NPP has promised to abolish. And if you cut down this president's funds by 90%, which our candidate has promised, you can save about 8,000 to 9,000 million a year. So corruption and waste has to stop. So therefore, we need an alternative. And we figured out, we are not going to say that, oh, not politicians, only professionals should run the country. No. This problem was created by politicians, so politicians need to solve it. But good ones, non-corrupt ones, are the ones. But as professional, our job is to formulate policy and guide on specific topics. But the execution of those projects, execution of those plans is the art of and the field of politics. So the alternative politics we are looking at is corruption-free team effort who can carry policy forward. And right now in this fray, the only alternative available is NPP led by Andhra Kumar. Now always remember, Andhra Kumar Dissanayake to us is only our presidential candidate. We are completely different from the traditional party politics mentality. We are not going to like crackers and eat kiribat if he wins. No, because we are bringing Andhra Kumar Dissanayake because he is going to carry forward the policies that we have prepared. So in effect, what we are doing is, we are going to make sure this country will be run on professional policies, proper policies done, not by an individual. We will be guided by the policy document which we have already established. So therefore, the alternative party we are is, number one, we have a team who are not corrupt. Right now he is the presidential candidate, because in the NPP there are no leaders. Some people mistakenly believe, oh, Andhra Kumar is the leader of NPP. No, he is the presidential candidate of NPP. NPP has no authors. It's a collective of now nearly 30 organizations. So what we are trying to do is, for this country to run on a national policy which we have prepared, and that can only be done not just by Andhra Kumar winning the presidential, but also winning a sizable chunk at the parliamentary elections. Otherwise we cannot maintain these policies. So NPP is the only and the true alternative compared to the UNP corrupt politics, as well as, now look at the two candidates, Sajith Premadasa, look at his speech, look at what he is saying, does it even make sense to you? Look at Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, he can't even say what he was thinking. It's coming through a teleprompter. Now these are not the kind of people who can lead a country out of a mess like this. That's my situation, and we are the only alternative at the moment.
Yeah, so it's very clear from you that alternative politics should drive a policy, and it should be a team, and it should be non-corrupt, right? So Kaushalya, so now there are many alternatives. So there are a lot of teams who has come up for these elections and politics, and I think there is about 35 candidates also, everybody considering them as alternatives. Now how do you distinguish National People's Power, Jatika Janabalavekya, from the rest?
Well, I would answer your question with 2 points. First, we'll take the name, the National People's Power. The word people is there, not just for the sake of having the word people, it means people. Why I say that is, this platform, this movement is led by a wide range of people and communities. There are professionals, there are academics, there are working people, men and women, and a lot of other sectors that brings together. So this is actually a people's movement. So when I say that, one could argue, okay, the other major political parties also have people like that in all different sectors. But I emphasize that they are not people, they are just voters. Why I mean that is, okay, they are being instrumental for voting in a certain elections, and then after that they are being forgotten. All these decisions and the political structures are carried forward by a certain group of people in the power. Whereas in NPP, the structure is formed by people, and it's led by people, and it's carried forward by people. So it is a people's movement, it's not a voters' movement. That's the first point. The second point I want to say is, as Harshana explained rightfully, that our presidential candidate is leading a policy, not the party. So he is the one who takes this forward in constant conversation with us, with all the people who are in the movement. So he takes our policy forward, and we have the opportunity to discuss with him, negotiate, and of course criticize also. So none of the other political parties, even so-called alternatives, have provided such a very democratic stage for actually people to come and design politics. That's why it is different from other parties.
Understood. So let me pick from Kaushalya to Dr. Anil. Now NPP has nominated Mr. Anurukumar Disanayakke as the presidential candidate. So he is also the leader of Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna, also known as JVP. So JVP is known to be a very leftish socialist party, and is NPP same as JVP, or how does it differ from the ideology of JVP?
Say that people should not get confused with this. Actually, these are two different organizations. People's Liberation Front, or JVP, Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna, is a respected political party which has a long history. All the time it fought for the justice and for on behalf of people. So it has a long-term political objective, and they work based on those policies. And likewise, there are like-minded people. We also look at the society from different perspectives, different ideologies. So now history has proven us that even though our objectives and ideologies are for the betterment of the society, until now we work individually. We just try to bring this effort individually. In a way, in political explanation, it is something like disintegration. We are disintegrated. We were fighting for something good, but individually it didn't work. So therefore, the right time has come for us to unite together, integrate. Despite all these other differences, there may be the structure or ideologies, we can find a common thread. The common thread is nothing but the public interest. Everyone needs a better society, so where everyone can live in harmony. So no matter whether you may belong to different labels or identities. For example, I am an academic, so that is my academic identity. I may have a nationality identity, being a Sinhalese, a Buddhist, or I may have another different identity, regional identity. So likewise, if we take all those organizations, we may have different identities, but at the end of the day, if you come to a common platform, we all are human. So therefore, why can't we work on a common platform that is based on human qualities? So therefore, NPP is a platform where everyone, including, because JVP is highlighted being a mainstream political party, likewise there are the organization as well. So therefore, NPP is, as even Harshana explained this thing earlier, a common platform for any like-minded people who wants to contribute for a better society in which everyone can live in peace and harmony. So that is the difference. This is not a simple alliance looking at this particular election. So as I just told you, it has a long-term objective of doing that, that is converting, transforming our entire society to better. So therefore, we need to have a mechanism, governance mechanism. Governance mechanism has been formed as of now by with representatives from all the organizations. Basically, initial stage we took 2 representatives from all organizations, and then we have a separate steering committee as well. All the decisions are taken collectively. So there are no self-based decision like no we take decision based on agreed social principles. So that is how it works. So everything is referred to all the organization with the consent of all the organization, because we don't have any conflicts, because the consensus can be easily reached. Our main the common objective is the public interest. So for the timing, because we have later on, once that society has been created, we can work on our own agendas later on.
So doctor, does it mean that any organization or individual can contribute to this platform?
Of course.
And what would be the criteria? What will be the 3 main criteria for people to join?
Okay, of course, the simple answer is anybody, any citizen can join. no matter who you are. But there are certain things. Why? We do not want to really spoil like this organization later on, like derail this thing from our objective. So therefore, we look at certain things. Number one is how best each organization or individuals can keep up to that particular objective of serving the public interest. We test it. How you have done, I mean, behave in the past. If you are corrupt, if you are a thief, if you have stolen public property, you can't say that I am going to work to uphold the public interest. So therefore, one of the major criteria is to screen your history, how you have behaved in the society, how you have contributed, and the basic things. And from political side, we look at another aspect as well. I forgot to tell you one thing as far as this the economic condition is concerned. Why we have such a bad economy as of now is mainly due to the wrong economic policies that we have adopted by all the governments. So therefore, whoever who joins, individuals or organization, should accept the fact that these existing neoliberal economic policies are not going to work. We need to have an alternative. That is what Harshana mentioned. So what is this? The alternative economic policies is the society-based, public interest-based the policies. If we can work, if you agree to work with these policies, yes, you can join. And at the same time, like we have developed certain set of policies. Not really limited, like covering all the aspects of the economy. We have developed a policy document called Let's Build Sri Lanka, and whoever who agree to work based on these policies. Actually, it does not mean that it is not a hard and fast rule. So it is not like a Bible, we can change it all the time. Constructive comments and suggestions are welcome, and we want to further expand this thing based on these policies. If you are ready to work, anybody can join, because it looks like when when you hear the word like national, my organization, national intellectuals organization, now national people's the power. So sometimes you may feel like, okay, that is a place where only professionals can go. No, it's not. Any person, any citizen can join.
Okay. So Ms. Kaushalya, you have been a social activist, especially on gender diversity. And do you think that NPP is an open enough platform to bring in youth and gender related activists into the platform and then drive this change behavior?
Certainly, I think so. So let me explain that divisions are everywhere. So realistically, all societies are divided, right? So there are no societies that are not divided. What we want to make sure is one certain sector of the society does not overpower the other sector and take their rights. So if you look into the divisions in a superficial way, you can say, okay, men are different from women and Sinhalese are different from Tamils, but it doesn't mean all women are same, are homogeneous. So let me give a small example. So the women's wing of the National People's Power, where I represent, we have been drafting our gender policy. I think it must be the first ever gender policy in a major political party that has been drafted only by women. So we have all sort of women in our group. For example, we have intellectuals, we have academics, we have working women who are farmers, who are fishing women, who are working in free trade zones and estate sector, and we have Tamil, Muslim, burger women, and we have transgender women and LGBTIQ community. So we have all these representatives. So women are different. So what we want to make sure is all these differences are taken into consideration when you plan a policy for the whole country, not looking at the differences in a superficial way, saying that okay, women are different and men are different. So these differences are very subtle. So we have to make sure that all these differences are addressed and all these demands are being addressed. So what we have been doing is that we have been engaging with other policy makers in the people's power, that gender is taken as a cross-cutting issue in all sectors, in economy, in politics, in culture as well. So that's how we create commonalities among all these differences and divisions. So what we are trying to achieve is that bring all these divisions and making sure that all these divisions, all these differences are being taken constructively to enrich the policy of the national people's power.
Sure. So that that general means that the divisions and the diversities we have, there is a place of acceptance
for everyone.
Yes.
On the basic condition of everyone is equal and have equal rights, we accept everyone.
Sure. Mr. Nanayakkara, I have a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I have seen there's a lot of debate about corruption, lot of talk about corruption, and we also see a lot of issues in the society, killings, drugs, public fund misuse. But for the last, I would say last 20 years, where I have been reading and thinking about the society, I have not seen anybody getting convicted, going to jail. And this, you initially said there's certain amount of funds, like trillions has been missing. And in my life, there has been 4 governments, right, when I am an adult, but nobody goes to jail. What's wrong with this? Can we fix it?
The reason for corruption is corruption, right? The reason for corruption is corruption. Okay. See, when I said that we need to change the society, what I meant, we have to pull it inside out. Now, it is pointless having the best of laws on the book or the best of establishments if we are manning them with corrupt, self-centered individuals. That's what happened for the last 70 years. I mean, let's be specific. I think especially after 1977. Prior to 77 also there would have been some issues, but the corruption didn't become this rampant. That is after 1977 this happened. Probably this forum, I won't have enough time to explain that jump. But what has happened here now, from top to bottom, when corrupt individuals are there, there's a problem, because one thief will always protect another thief. They're not going to catch it. No. Now when this government was coming into power, they said they're going to catch the thieves, put them in prison, we are going to do that, do this, do that. And then within the first 100 days itself, right, they rob the central bank in the form of a bond scam. So you can see obviously, then I'm only talking about the past 5 years, but it could have happened like before also, where people think UMP is different to SLFP and SLF is different to Pohuttu. But remember, they are all one. They all belong to the same stealing, thieving class. Not to say that all of them are thieves, they are good individuals. But as parties, they will always protect one another. They will always protect one another. Because that's what thieves do. One thief won't catch another thief. So that problem is there, and that's why the public is extremely tired of these main parties also. That's why they are tired, because they know we are paying through our noses via indirect taxes, because these guys are emptying the coffers and increasing our taxes to fill up that whatever they have stolen. I mean, we will pay taxes provided our quality of life goes up. I look at Denmark, Sweden, very high taxes, but nobody complains. You get the public transport, you get the health, you get the education. Here they steal rampantly. So okay fine. So that is number one. The other thing is, our system of justice also, deliberate blocks are there. It's old. There's not enough resources. When you go to courts, our conviction rate is very low. Now of course it has increased a little bit. People are getting convicted, not that they're not. But it's very slow. Once you file a case, it takes years and years. By the time the man is getting convicted, you can't remember what you charged him with. Right? So where is the deterrence? Where is the deterrence? Anyone who goes to a court will know how long they have to wait. I'm not going to blame each individual judge or lawyer or defense counsel. I'm not going to do that. But the system is rotten. It's failing. It's falling apart. That's why at NPP we gave a separate chapter to the judiciary and the legal system, where we believe police, courts, lawyers and the Attorney General have to be coordinated well for a smooth flow of cases from the initiation till the end of the trial and the appeal also. This can be done within within a year or two it should be done. Right now it takes 7 to 8 years. So therefore, and we have, our police is very good. Believe me, our judiciary is very good. Of course there may be 1 or 2 corrupt individuals. Police, yes, there may be 1 or 2 corrupt individuals. It's there everywhere. But in general, overall, we have a good judiciary, we have a good police, we have a good AG's department. But we have political interferences. We have corrupt politicians putting pressure on public servants not to do their job. Look here, drugs come only from 2 sides, no? From the sea and from there. You think we can't stop it if we give them enough technology and don't interfere in their lives? I mean, drugs are killing this country. But you see, people who are in the parliament are importing drugs, some of them. So therefore, our police and the AG and the judiciary can do this. But we must have zero tolerance on interference with the independence of the judiciary. Protecting the rule of law and making sure zero tolerance with the interference of the judiciary, and strengthening the judiciary with resources and coordination and proper vision and policy can bring back rule of law and democracy into shape. And believe me, that's the key to the success of this country. And that's why our candidate has promised that he will give 2 months to all rogues to return whatever they have stolen. We will take action, and believe me, we have the plan and we have the people to do so. So therefore you are right. Why is corrupt? Because you keep on appointing corrupt people. If you plant a mango seed, what you are going to get is a mango tree, no, nothing else. You send a thief to the parliament, right? You send a thief to the president, well, then what you have is a corrupt government. No magic there. So that's why we are telling people, we have brought you a candidate who's clean and clear as crystal. Vote for the guy, we'll catch the thieves. Only we will do it, not the Pohotua, not the UMP, and not, of course, not the Gotabe lot, right? They are just there to safeguard their cases. Have you ever heard anywhere a candidate with 8 criminal cases asking to be the leader of the country? Have you ever heard it anywhere else except in this godforsaken island? And he became like that because Ranil and them were protecting him. But believe me, with NPP, zero tolerance for corruption, and we have a plan and we will do it. So that's why we are asking to put our candidate in, because this country is bleeding. Our economy is bleeding. Our society is bleeding. It has to be fixed.
I think this rule of law thing is personal to everyone. Even I have 2 daughters, and that is one of the interests, that getting politically active is very important for all of us. So Dr. Anil, so on the economic perspective, and Sri Lanka has all the resources it takes, right? And we have a good intellectual human resource capital, and we are placed very well in the trade zones like east and the west, and we have deteriorated over and over years and years. So as you said, there has to be some problem. How do you define this problem in a very simple way for the audience to understand, and what kind of policies or what kind of solutions would NPP bring to make this country prosperous in a short time?
This economic crisis, in simple term, is nothing but the lack of income or the revenue for the country. If you try to understand with numbers, if you consider the entire world produces or generates an income of 100 rupees, Sri Lanka produces only 10 cents. So therefore the contribution, the income which is generated by Sri Lanka is very, very insignificant as of now compared to the world as well. On the other hand, like we can ask a question, how do we increase this revenue? Actually, there are 2 ways of increasing the income or the boosting the economy. Number 1 is increasing your production basis, actually national production. If the production is can be increased, national income increases. Then we can find so many solutions to lots of economic problems. That is the best solution, the most recommended solution. And at the same time there is another solution. That solution is simply borrow money and jack up the economy. To great extent, even that small economy that we have, per capita GDP is roughly around 4,000 USD, and this jack up economy, I mean this 4,000 has been jacked up by huge loans. So that is another problem in our country. So that is why we are in a debt, like vicious circle of debt. We need to get rid from this. It does not mean that debts are bad, borrowing is bad. No, borrowing is something that could really work as a leverage to push the economy up. But unfortunately, so there are lots of mismanagement and all these things. So people know that lots of money, borrowed money, has been used for unproductive projects, and again for corruption, and sometimes for recurrent expenses. So that's a bad the precedence. So in under our government, we never do this thing. So that is the second question. The third area of this the problem, why we can't develop, I mean why we are facing this current economic problem is the problems in the international trade. So now everyone agrees that we live in a global economy. Either you like it or not, you need to work in in connected world. So therefore we need to import certain things what we want. At the same time we can produce goods and services and supply them to the global supply chain. That is how the world trend is going. For example, in 1960s the world global trade, export trade was around 13%, whereas Sri Lanka was exporting by that time 24% of GDP. Actually in 1960s we were better than this. Now the world has been going in this the way. If you take the global export as a percentage of GDP of the entire world, it is now 25%. But Sri Lanka, the percentage has, Sri Lanka's percentage has come down from 23% to 9%. So now we are going in an opposite direction. So therefore that is another problem. We do not have adequate dollars, in simple terms, adequate dollars to import what we want and to pay our debts and to invest. So as a result, it would create another economic crisis, that is the foreign exchange crisis. That is the reason why all the time, so you experience it. So your exchange rate between dollar and rupee is just skyrocketing all the time. Maybe in a couple of years, if you continue with the same economic policies, I do not know where it would end. And the other, there are so many issues. I mean, I believe that now we don't have time to talk all these things. But another important area, because we are one of the economic bases among others, is agriculture. The agriculture, to a certain extent, it should be a sustainable agriculture which should provide a kind of assurance about the food security. So we can't do this thing without having adequate production. One of the biggest problem in agriculture is the productivity. We have low productivity. If you see the statistics over last 10-15 years, with the same amount of the cultivation, I mean land area, it has not changed. Of course we have limitation, we can't increase, but we have the technology. Of course we can increase the productivity, but we have the same productivity, we have the productivity problem as well. And structural issue is also there. If you take the national labor force, assuming that there are only 100 people to work, 25 people are working in the agriculture, but as far as the income is concerned, national income, out of 100, agriculture brings only 8 rupees. So now there is a structural problem as well. We need to fix it. And one more area is the government revenue. That is why we talk about the politics. At the end of the day, we need government. Politics is a good thing. Politics is the structure which fix all these things and arrange in such a manner that would run the economy as smooth as possible. Therefore, in order to do these things, as I mentioned, like judiciary, legal system, law and order, there are so many things, public services. Likewise, there are so many things that a government should spend and maintain in order to have a good country. That is what we call public expenditure. To do that, we need the revenue. So government revenue is also decreasing. So there are so many reasons. So we need to fix that problem as well. It does not mean that, so how we are going to earn money? So major source is tax, but taxing, so easiest way for bad governance or the government is to tax poor people. That is why our indirect tax percentage is always almost 80%. It's bad. It shouldn't be. That is considered to be one of the bad indicator as far as the government revenue is concerned. So we have a plan to bring it down at least 60%. So tax system has to be restructured, and if you can expand our economy, of course the government revenue can be increased. So likewise, if we look at from a holistic approach and set up these governance structures, and our policies are based on all these things, and I would like to mention 4 key principles of our economic policies. Number 1 is the accountability. It's not simple doing things for the sake of doing. So we do the things with accountability. The number 2 is the transparency. So with the technology and all these things, the general public is made aware of just accessing to all these information, what we really do. We tell them these are the things that we are going to do. These are the benefits that would be generated in our economy. How these benefits are divided among the people. So therefore transparency is important. The other principle is the meritocracy. So there are 2 things in the public governance. One is the political side, where you do certain things. At the same time, government structure has to be administered. So that is the public servants. Public servants should be really on base of the meritocracy. So there shouldn't be any political interferences and all these things. And the last one, there are so many other things, and the major things I'm referring is the corruption-free system should be there. So with corruption, we can't do all these things. So therefore, with our economic policies, we believe that we can convert this country, society to a better place. And I would like to mention one important thing. Based on these bad economic policies, market economy, in a way, though market economy has some loopholes and some weaknesses, to some extent, market economy can be used as a tool to distribute goods and services in an efficient manner among the public. That's the market economy. Unfortunately, this market economy is just drifting away, and now it has been created or converted into a market society. What's the difference between market society and market economy? Market society is a place where everything is up for sale. Social value, civic rights, all those things, your love, anger, emotions, everything can be sold. So that is the big problem we are facing as of now, in addition to the materialistic, the financial values of the economy. So therefore our policies very carefully separated these things which are not marketable, should not be brought under economic policy. They are dealt with our social policies and environmental policies. So this is how we have our developed in the policies. We believe that we can do this particular change, but what we need is the power, because it is in a democratic society. General public, it is not only my country, this is our country. Our country, everyone has a responsibility and stake to convert. If you can't actively involve in politics or do certain things in creating policies or contribute, at least you can give your consent for good policies.
So doctor, so things fixable.
Fixable, of course.
Fixable. And so I think for the society, it's a complex area, it's a large subject. I think your policies are available for people to read and understand, and for dialogue as well.
Exactly.
So let me take one common question anybody can answer. So I think we have had enough problems with ethnic conflicts. I think we have been a nation with 30-year war, and we have ended the war with war, and then still we have detachments from certain social communities. Very recent problem was the East attack, and with that again ethnic question has come up, a security question has come up, threat to national security a court has come up. So and there is this debate about, is it a national threat or is it a threat to people? So how would national people's power see it, and how would you define this for the society, to how can we come out of this?
Who's going to answer that? Should I answer that first?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
All of us answer? Right. We see it in this manner. The security of the nation is very important. When you say nation, there are people, animals, trees and land. This all consist of nation, right? So when you say national security, especially because you referred to the 21st April East attacks, I'll start with that aspect. Yes, in any form, terrorism is a bad thing for a country. Now, in order to prevent that, we have an army. We can give the best training to the army. We can get the best surveillance equipment. We can use the best technology. Send our soldiers to the best military schools, which we should do for national security. But that alone cannot guarantee safety for a country like ours. Because the threat we are facing is not another country is going to come and invade us, no. It's about our races living in harmony. When there's racism, when there's religious discrimination and tension and racism, right, you cannot make that country safe. Why? I mean, you have the best army. Are you to keep one army guy at every lamppost, every junction? Today, if you look at it after the 21st East attacks, in Kandy, there are some barriers separating the Muslim villages and singular families. Why? There's no peace. So, National People's Power believe the only permanent solution for peace and national security in this country is religious and ethnic harmony and coexistence. Now, this coexistence does not mean we are going to give in to terrorists. We are going to fight terrorism, doesn't matter whatever the shape and color it comes from, if it's necessary, even militarily. But now look at it like this. When a Sinhala man goes in a motorbike and meet with an accident in a Sinhala village, it will be very normal. Now, if the Sinhala guy goes and meet with an accident in a Muslim village, suddenly it might turn into a racial riot, because religious hatred is created not by the public but by extremist politicians from the north, east and the south in order to gain power. Because religious hatred creation, tension creation is a very favorite and old destructive method of corrupt politicians to come into power. You can see it now. Immediately after the East attack happened, 3 days later Gotabaya Rajapaksa was saying, I will become the president and make the country safe. Not even the smell of the bloody blood has gone away. So, I mean, not only him, there are others from the East also who bank. The Muslim extreme, some politicians, they show their voter bank to the main parties. They do business with their Muslim vote. Say, this is the block we have from the East. You give me this minister portfolio, you can have this block. So, believe me, we are a people who struggle in our normal life together. We struggle in buses to get to school. We languish in the same job queues, same school queues. But when it comes to politics, we become Muslim and Sinhala and Tamil and everything. Why? Because we are being divided by our rulers. They are from the south and the east and the west. So, bottom line is, for permanent peace and permanent national security and security of the nation, peace and coexistence among races are important, and that's why NPP believes on creating a Sri Lankan identity. That means you can be Muslim, your religion is your personal business, fine, you be that. You can have your own identical, cultural, identical differences. It's perfectly all right, because we are all Sri Lankan. So that's what we are pushing for, one aspect. Aspect number two, what about getting into agreements like SOFA and AXA, allowing foreign powers to deal with our property? What about alienating our valuable, minerals and assets to other countries, giving land to Dol Samagamo or giving land to Shangri-La? Now, these are threat to national security too. They have a land, they belong to our people. Now, one banana company, Dole company, they are using 15,000 acres of our lands, and our farmers have simply become their laborers. So, remember, national security not only just racial issues, but our assets also, our harbors, these are important. So, as a policy, I will finish off with this line, as a policy, national people's power, even if our voter base goes to zero, will not take the dirty religious hatred line to get into power. We will not do that even if our voter base is zero, because we know the amount of bloodshed and carnage you will create is irreparable, and we should know that. We had a 30-year war. We don't want to start one now. Okay, so we believe the only way is that, but that also encompasses our assets. You know how these politicians do it. Now, before Gotabaya Rajapaksa gave nominations, we had Dr. Safi, some fallopian tube, right? All abortion brass, gels, pills. Suddenly they have vanished from the time Gotabaya started visiting mosques. All the Muslim hatred has finished. And I honestly don't know why the people can't see who's creating tension. I'm only taking from this side. There are other people too. I just took as an example. So we firmly believe NPP, because of our policy, we can make this country extremely safe without any racial tension or religious tension.
Mr. Harshana, that is a broad explanation of this issue. I think people are very much, they see all these issues in digital media or Facebook or through a simple post. I think there's a lot to explore for all of us.
Yes.
And the diversity, the ethnicities and the harmony and what it creates into politics and how the power is used to divide people and again use the divided people to get into power.
If I may compliment to what Harshana just said, if we take the security in a hypothetical sense, security is not something we don't see. Security is our day-to-day lives. So if, for example, if we say that, okay, being a woman makes me an insecure person, that's not a secured country. And if you are a Muslim, if you are, just because you are a Muslim or Tamil, if you are vulnerable, that's an insecure country. So if your gender identity or sexual orientation makes you vulnerable, then it's not a safe country. So security is about our day-to-day lives and how we achieve our rights. So if you, I have a simple answer to young people who wants to see why we vote for NPP. So if you really want to see to live in a country without any fear, if you really want to enjoy the economic benefits, if you really want a leadership who is accountable for the people, then this is the one and only platform you have. Blindly following a leader or a father figure or a family does not bring you a better country.
To Dr. Anil, so what is now, you have a lot of students who have taught from you and you have you have interacted with the society and people are known to you, and there's a lot of people who are watching this today. What is your message at this point to the public?
To the general public, the straightforward message is that we need to have integration by rejecting disintegration. And at the end of the day, if we can establish this particular social integration, I believe that we would find lots of solutions for most of our problems that we are having in our country. So therefore I request general public to undress some of your labels in terms of your religion, nationality and all these things are divisions, and join hands together and work together under one common banner. So that is nothing but the humane qualities. Based on humane qualities, if we work and contribute something, we hope that we can create that society. And one more thing, in order to do this, people should be a little bit intelligent. Now the world is moving from a paradigm of belief based decision making towards knowledge based decision making. To great extent, what I understand, the society, our general public take decisions only on beliefs and based on certain sayings and rumors without questioning and asking, because you need to be very at least be a little bit critical and is that true or not? If the general public is going to be a little bit critical, they can slowly move from this belief base to the knowledge base. To end our discussion, I would like to read out one quotation by John Stuart Mill. So he is a political philosopher. What he has said, so I quote, "It's better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Better to be a Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied. And if the fool or the pig are of a different opinion, it's because they only know their side of the question." So I believe if you take up this, it opens up the entire question with respect to general politics and all these things. So it's up to you. I hope that general public in Sri Lanka is educated enough, almost 100%. Our literacy rate is 98%. I believe that we can move towards Socrates and we can move towards humans. If you take this challenge, of course, within a short period of time, we can change our country. So all the best, and critically think, and rather than believing what we said, so question ourselves, and we can move towards a knowledge-based society together.
And Dr. Nanayakkara, so there's a huge voter base, young voter base, which has about close to 2 million. You have any message for the youngsters?
I'll be very short and brief. All I'm saying is there's no country in the world that rogues and thieves have developed. They have only ruined it. In this election, we are putting forward a clean candidate compared to the two main parties. We are the only hope this country has, who's bleeding economically, socially and culturally. So therefore use your young vote wisely. So you don't have to go behind ministers, you don't have to bribe people to get what is due to you as a young person of this country. So please use your first vote wisely, vote for us because we are the only hope. In fact, many politicians say, give us your vote, we will show you what you can do, we will give you an opportunity. But I'd rather say, we are giving you, the country, an opportunity. For the last time, save it. Your parents have failed, elder generations have failed you in this miserable country. So young voters, your first vote, vote for someone who's not corrupt, who has a vision, vote for our candidate, Anil Jayantha.
So thank you very much, Dr. Anil, Kaushalya and Mr. Nanayakkara. So it's been a privilege to have you on the first talk show of NPP.
Likewise.
So for the audience, and we are going to meet you every week, and we are going to bring the intellects and the contributors to National People's Power, and let them explain to you the social issues, the problems that we get from the society. So this is the platform that we can ask. So follow us on the digital media and post your questions so that next week we can ask the panelists who are here. And so in terms of elections perspective, National People Power is coming out with a new symbol which is new. So if you are really interested in this different politics, fact-based politics, a politics which has a human aspect of it, a politics which is driving diversity, please explore. I think that is the message. So exploring will only give you more knowledge and better decisions. And until we meet next time, goodbye.